Good afternoon, Abbotsford residents. I'm Mr. Pelican. I'm running for your Commander-in-Chief of Abbotsford to forensic audit the city and trace this, the brown bag, and why incompetent people were given titles and then dismissed to cover it up. People that had no business having titles or being in charge of anything. You're talking the Ag Minister from Pam and out. The devastation that took place on our farmers here in Abbotsford was unbelievable. The only man that I could tell you that would have stood up and wreaked havoc would the old mayor, George Ferguson. He would have told you the ditches weren't clean, Henry was taking advantage of the city, development was priority with Henry with his friends. The bottlenecks weren't getting clean, and nothing was getting done. He dismantled the Dike and Ditch Committee so he could take control of it. It was unbelievable what happened to our farmers. So let me explain something to you before I begin. I took this journey on with Abbotsford due to the threats on my life and how deep it went in my community police department. This here is the Mackenzie Bog. The Mackenzie Bog got people deadly sick and it still operates. Under my mayorship, I will go in and I will go after Magna with criminal charges and forensic audit how many fines and cease and desist orders she gave the Mackenzie Bog, that family's tied to the establishment. Them people got deadly sick. The snow was going black because of the toxic, and it was supposed to be moved out of there. All the neighbors and everybody didn't get counsel or representation, so they count on a politician so the guy can't threaten them, and that's why you lead it for them residents. So the residents were scared to speak forward. Ross and councils were covering. We got Simon Gibson, who's an ag critic now for the city councils. What the heck does he know? He's Ian Black's campaign manager. That's where he needs to go. He hasn't done anything. We got Kelly Green, who flew on Ross's lap to Carney to get money for these dikes, for Jake's contracting. I want you to have a look at this mismanaged. When I ran a video 3 weeks ago, Jake's packed up and half the job is only finished. They brought sandbags in here and charged that money. Then they hauled the sandbags out and dumped gravel in here. And then they hauled the gravel out to their sites, and then they brought this. Inflating and stealing this money, we're gonna trace where these dollars went, like Carney said, and why we paid 3 times for that job, and how many people, and we're gonna see them time cards. We're gonna open that for the city, and we're gonna open it for residents, and we're gonna go after that, thanks to Darren Braun. But Kelly Green, instead of flying to Ottawa to beg for that money, there was $500 million to move the Ag Center up by UFV, and we're going to trace why we're moving that. We're freeing up a piece of land, like we did Riverside, old Henry, the big developer plans. Why are we moving that? For $500 million, Carney knew what I knew. Why do I got to put any money in to help Abbotsford farmers, or put any money in to fix Barrowtown when David Eby could throw $500 million to move the Ag Center? For what reasons? We built the wall now. We don't need to move it. Where's that money going? This is where Armand Bagdu. This is where my conservatives need to be in the ledge calling. When is David Eby going to come clean on what took place in Abbotsford on Barrowtown and on that farmers? Because Carney cut his hands off because Carney said you're not getting that money. And why did Kelly Green fly to Ottawa with Ross and she's not with the NDP Ag and Environmental BC out shutting that bog down? And that's been carrying on and carrying on. Why isn't the NDP looking into how many infractions and impositions and stop work orders by the city, mayor, and council? Oh, they can't. They're friends. So we got to get in our car. We got to make a call over to Paul Walker and Colin Watts and say, go threaten Mr. Pelican now. You got to get out there and give him a beating. Take the Abbotsford police. Abbotsford Mackenzie Bog has one of the devastating things. Paul Walker lives next door to it, the city councilors and city told me. And he allowed them people that he says, oh, Abbotsford police are about this community, knowing them in toxics and everything going in the water. So the question now to David Eby and to Kelly Green is, where is the native Indian chief not going to the Mackenzie Bog and seeing the land being poisoned, the environmental, the wells and everything else being done, the dirty contaminations and everything on their land? That is where my native Indian chief needs to be. And as mayor, I would bring him there and saying not only that, the fisheries, the streams and everything. This bog carried on and it still carries on with no infractions. That is why I want to go in the city and say to Magna and the bureaucrats, where's the fines, where's the letters, how many of them neighbors have you worked with, and if you can't supply them, I will be going after you for criminal charges, because somehow this bag was very small, got very big, and that's how you look away from negligence. So I would expect that the BC Conservatives start asking David E. why are we moving the Ag Centre for $500 million? And this money and all this, we're going to start tracing this. And we're going to start tracing the incompetent people that were put in charge, because Henry Brown was a mastermind in engine. Tell him cuffs. Go on Henry for that attempted murder. Abbotsford residents, myself, and everybody are going to open every door in every office of who's laying in bed. And there they are. They're all in bed with each other. You saw what Ed did. You saw what Ian Black did. You saw what Simon Gibson did. We don't even have a job. Jake said, get out of here. It's on social media. Pack up and flee. Jake's was stealing that off of Abbotsford taxpayers. Live. Barreltown Waterworks.